Welcome to Iconic Leadership, the podcast for female entrepreneurs who know they're here to lead, not just build a business. This show is for women stepping into the Alpha Queen era, where leadership becomes identity, power is embodied, and success is created from the inside out. Here, we explore sovereign leadership, expansion, vision, purpose, business, and the inner work that is required to build an empire that fits the woman you are becoming. Strategy matters, but who you are matters more. I'm Carissa Atkins, and this is Iconic Leadership. Welcome to the new standard of the Alpha Queen power. Hey, you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another kick-ass episode of Iconic Leadership with me, Carissa Atkins. Okay, so can I just say something that might make some of you feel a bit uncomfortable? Okay, so the world does not have a shortage of experts. The world has a shortage of visible experts. And that distinction matters because every single day I watch women with incredible stories, incredible wisdom, incredible experience, incredible credentials stay hidden. Meanwhile, somebody with half the experience, half the expertise, and half the results is building an audience, building an influence, and building opportunities simply because they are willing to be seen. And before you get mad, let's just talk about it, right? Because this episode isn't about social media. This episode isn't about algorithms or all of your followers. This episode is about true leadership because visibility isn't vanity. Visibility is leadership. And I think it's time somebody said it. Can I tell you one of the biggest problems that I see in the coaching, consulting, and personal development industry right now? A huge problem that I am seeing is brilliant women hiding. That's it, right? That's a huge problem. It's not the lack of talent that's out there. It's not the lack of intelligence or the lack of opportunity. It's lack of visibility. And I meet women every single week who are absolutely phenomenal at what they do with decades of experience, women who have overcome incredible adversity, women who have built very successful businesses, women who have wisdom people desperately need. And yet, nobody knows who they are. Why? Well, because somewhere along the way, they learned that visibility was selfish. Talking about themselves was bragging, that promoting their work was maybe pushy, that being seen is somehow wrong. And the result? Well, they stay quiet, they stay safe, and they stay small. So let's just call it what it is. Women have been conditioned to believe that being visible is dangerous, right? We've been taught, don't be too loud, don't take up too much space, don't draw attention to yourself. We've been taught, don't make other people uncomfortable. Don't be too ambitious. Gosh, I have heard that one so many times. Or don't be too confident, right? Because you'll look cocky. Or don't be too successful. Don't be too much. Does any of that sound familiar to you? It does for me, that's for sure. But then we can start to wonder, right? Because we've been conditioned to believe not to take up too much space. And then we wonder why so many women struggle to show up online, right? To actually grow their companies, their movements, and really create a massive amount of impact. We wonder why they don't apply to speak, right? We wonder why they don't write a book. We wonder why they don't start the podcast. Or we wonder why they don't pitch themselves to major media. It's because they've been spending decades being trained not to. And I remember when I first started building my brand, I thought visibility was marketing. I thought visibility was a business strategy. I thought visibility was somehow how you got clients. And yes, those things are all true. But over time, I've realized something so much bigger. Visibility is service. Visibility is leadership. Visibility is responsibility. because the more women that because the more women I worked with, the more messages I received, right? The more stories I heard, the more I realized that people were finding hope because I was willing to share my story. People were making a different decision because I was willing to tell the truth. People were changing their lives because I was willing to be vulnerable and seen. And that changed everything for me. So I want to talk about the cost, right? The cost of not showing up, and being visible and willing to put yourself out there, because I get it. Hiding feels safe until it doesn't. And every year that you stay invisible, someone doesn't find your message that they desperately needed to hear. Every year you stay silent with your story, someone doesn't hear the lessons that you've learned that could help them. Every year that you postpone sharing your story and being vulnerable, someone else continues struggling with the very thing that you've already learned how to overcome. And that should bother you, right? Because your story isn't just for you anymore. Your experience isn't just you anymore. Your lessons aren't just for you anymore. Leadership requires visibility, right? Your lessons, your experiences, how you've overcome certain things, that are challenging people, those need to be heard because those are the messages that give other women hope and inspiration that they too can overcome it. Your proven methodology, how you've overcome those situations, can help other people. I remember, when I was being coached and mentored under Les Brown, he said, Carissa, your story is not meant to keep quiet, right? It is not meant to keep a secret. It is meant to inspire. It is meant to motivate, and it is meant to activate. And he goes, if you can get comfortable sharing all of your stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the messy ones, you will help so much more women. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And now I tell all of my clients, I said, when you're not being open, honest, and authentic to you, when you're not sharing your vulnerable stories, when you're not putting your life into, books and stages and things like that, you are robbing someone of a transformation that they are so desperately needing, right? You're robbing them of a solution to their problems. And I don't know about you, but I don't like the way that sounds, right? That just kind of makes me feel like, oh, right. If I didn't teach women how to overcome, their trauma, if I didn't teach women how to heal from, the wounds that have so deeply cut them and held them, kept them holding themselves back, I'd be robbing them of a successful company. I'd be robbing them of financial freedom. I'd be robbing them of time freedom. I'd be robbing them of great health and abundance if I kept all of my secrets for how I've been able to overcome all of those things. I mean, when we think about it, right? I've overcome suicide, addiction, obesity, poverty, a struggling coach mentality. I have been able to overcome so many things that so many women are currently struggling. Divorce, Hashimoto's. And guys, I've not just learned how to overcome them, I've learned how to make decisions that support overcoming them consistently, right? Because anyone can lose weight, but I've kept it off for over a decade. In fact, I'm only getting healthier and healthier as I age, right? I've overcome poverty and living in a best friend's basement because I didn't know how to grow my business. And now I am a very successful entrepreneur, a global leader in my space, right? In the self mastery space. So if I kept all of those things to myself, I mean, think about the thousands of women that I have worked with that wouldn't be where they're at because I chose to stay quiet. That's exactly what I'm talking about in this episode. That's why I'm so passionate about helping women put their stories into books, onto stages, into major media, right? And that's exactly why I launched Iconic Influence Media this last year because I became obsessed with one question. The question was, how many women are sitting on stories that could change lives? How many women could be writing books? How many women should be featured on podcasts? How many women should be speaking on stages? How many women should be sharing their expertise with the world? And the answer, far too many. right? And that is exactly why I created Iconic Women Rising. It is volume 2 of the Alpha Queens Rising collaborative book series. And you guys, this isn't just another book series, right? It's an opportunity to help somebody because the world doesn't need another book on Amazon. The world doesn't need another, useless, you know, superficial story on a stage. The world needs real leadership in action. The world needs to hear real stories of resilience and becoming. So the world needs women to use their voice, to share their story. The book is a very simple vehicle to do that. The mission is influence. The mission is impact. The mission is building a legacy that lasts beyond your generation. And here's another thing that I hear all the time. Literally, it's like all the time. It's like, Carissa, I just need more confidence. Like, hell no. Fuck no. I call bullshit, right? You don't need more confidence. You need more courage, right? You need to make a courageous decision to say yes to your story, to say yes to those who need it. Confidence comes after action, ladies. Confidence comes after being visible. Confidence comes after you put in the reps. Confidence comes after doing the thing that you were scared to death to do. Nobody wakes up feeling so freaking confident. Confidence is built and it is earned through reps, right? You get confident by sharing your story when you actually say yes to getting on a stage. You feel confident sharing your story in a book when you actually put your story in the book. And so many women are held back by fear of what people will think, fear of what, others will say, fear of comparison, fear of failure, fear of success. And I'm telling you, you need to learn how to get uncomfortable if you want to be a very successful entrepreneur and an impactful leader. Because nothing happens, that's great and good, and nothing happens that it's extraordinary when you're staying in your comfort zone. The fastest way to build confidence, ladies, is to stop hiding, to stop faking it, and to start taking action, courageous action, to make a decision that supports you and another woman. So I want to lovingly challenge you. If you are waiting until you feel ready to put your story into a book, you'll be waiting forever. If you're waiting until you feel confident enough to share your story on a stage, you'll be waiting forever. If you're waiting until, or if you're waiting until nobody judges you, oh my God, then you'll be waiting forever because leadership isn't waiting until fear disappears. Leadership is moving anyway. Leadership is speaking anyway. Leadership is showing up even in the uncomfortable places. Leadership is about becoming visible anyway. One of the foundational beliefs behind the She Rises movement, which is the global women's empowerment movement that I lead, guys, is that when a woman rises, everyone around her rises too. I mean, think about it. When a single woman learns how to step into her sovereignty, when she rises into her power, that changes her children's lives. Therefore, it changes her family's lives. Therefore, it changes the community, the clients, the audience, and the next 10 generations. But none of that can happen if nobody knows that you exist. And that's why visibility matters. Not because it's about you, that's ego, right? It's about those people that you are here to serve. It's about the heartbeat that so desperately needs to read your message or your story. So let me leave you with a question. What if visibility isn't vanity? What if visibility is leadership? What if visibility is self-responsibility? What if visibility is one of the most selfless things that you could do to help 1,000, a million, or even 1 billion people? The message you're carrying in your heart that you've already experienced, that you've already overcame, isn't meant to stay hidden. The impact you are here to create is meant to change the world. So please stop waiting, stop shrinking, stop apologizing for taking up space. The world doesn't need more hidden treasures and leaders. It needs more visible ones. And maybe that's exactly who you're being called to become. So if this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to take the next step. Join our Alpha Queen Insider, right? That's our weekly newsletter, your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and leadership tips, strategies, mindset hacks, all of the things. Or maybe you're someone who needs to learn how to program your mindset to become an iconic leader. Feel free to download our Rise app. We have a community that we absolutely love to pour into. It's called the Alpha Queens Rising. It's a completely free community. No, it's not another Facebook group. It's our private space where we invite women to come in and learn and grow beside so many other women. It does not matter how you show up as long as you start showing up for yourself first, because you can't lead a movement. You can't lead anybody else until you're first mastering yourself, right? So you have to learn how to lead yourself first, and then only then can you lead others to greatness. And if you're in that space where you have already learned how to, lead yourself, and you have a story that's within you, and you've been called to really step into your highest potential, if you know you're meant for more and you're ready to share your story and build a legacy, I want you to reach out to me. We only have a couple of spots left in volume 2, Iconic Women Rising volume 2. And I have some incredible epic bonuses, for those of you who are interested. Because guys, remember, it's more than just a book, and it's definitely more than just a story. We teach you, right? We walk you through step by step how to write your story so that it impacts millions of lives. We then teach you how to market the book so that you sell tons of copies that gets people actually transforming. We then give you the strategies and the tools to use the book to leverage your story to create more income and more impact, to land more paid speaking gigs, to actually get on TV interviews, right? To book podcast interviews. It's from start to finish, from your story to major global impact. We give you the tools. You just have to be willing to say yes to your story, yes to yourself, and yes to becoming visible. I got you every step of the way. All right. Until next time, I want you to lead boldly, live unapologetically, and remember, visibility isn't vanity. It is iconic leadership. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Iconic Leadership. If today's conversation activated something within you, make sure you subscribe and share this podcast with women who are ready to rise up too. Leaving a review helps this movement reach more women stepping into their power. This is Iconic Leadership.